DLR was the weakest section. I did not even know how to solve a single type of problem. The one thing that usually keeps me engaged is books. I I mean, we should rather be self motivated too. I mean, we should try rather than parents pushing you. It is never too early to start preparing, in fact. And for people who start a bit late, I would say it is never too late because they have to gather the courage and do it. There were people who tell about success stories from 95 to 99. See, there were people who start from 60 percentile. I mean, this is not an advice that I happen to hear from anyone. So this is what I would like to tell everyone, that
So, hi Feba, welcome to Crack2 interview series. Thank you so much for joining us today.
thank you for having me here.
First of all, congratulations on scoring 97.58 percentile in CAT 2020.
Thank you, thank you. I'm actually indebted to crack you for this.
So, firstly, can you tell us a little bit about your education background and then when you started preparing for CAT and all that?
Okay, basically, I hail from the state of Kerala. I
Okay.
did my graduation in TKM College of Engineering and I'm a 2018 pass out.
Okay.
So, during the final year of my graduation, I mean, throughout my college days, I actually wanted to try my hands in UPSC, like civil service exam.
Okay.
So, my first attempt in CAT was in 2017. So that
Okay.
was during my last year in college, and I made a very casual attempt. I just understood how the exam is.
Right.
Like after my college, I joined Tata Alexei. That was my campus placement.
Okay.
And after completing 1 year there, I wanted to switch to a managerial or an administrative side. And so definitely MBA is the best option. So I tried. I made a very casual attempt in 2019 CAT.
Okay.
So that was like the turning point. I scored only 78 point some percentile, 78.x for CAT 2019. So I started having the feeling that okay, maybe because a good number of my friends have scored 90 plus in the very first attempt. They also made a very casual attempt and they secured 90 plus percentile. So I asked them, did you prepare? And they were like, oh, like, no, I did not. It was a very casual attempt. And I started having the feeling that, okay, maybe CAT is also not something that CAT is something that I'm not chiseled out for. So, but I definitely wanted to do an MPA. I wanted to switch to managerial roles. So
Right.
I started working out quants. I started with quants, and quants was like my strongest section. It was my strongest section throughout. So I started with quants. I worked out the problems. And that is how I started my like learning journey.
Right.
And by June, I enrolled for an online test series.
Okay.
So I actually wanted to join for a contact class session, and there was one available at the regional level in Trivandrum. But due to this COVID and lockdown, that got suspended, and I could not join there. So I felt
Okay.
demotivated again. I thought, okay, maybe this year too, I won't be able to make it. But then sometime, okay, and by then I started giving online mocks, and I was like scoring really really bad percentile, like 60 percentile, 65. I
Okay.
was not at all improving, and I had no idea how to approach a DLR question. So
Right.
during that time, I met a friend of mine who graduated from Excel.
Okay.
So he introduced this CrackU to me.
Okay.
He told there is this CrackU, and why don't you join a course of theirs? And then I checked CrackU YouTube videos, and I really liked the videos. The first video that I still remember, the first video that I watched is of Saili ma'am's games and tournament section. I really liked the way she introduced the concepts, like uh, the way we should approach a problem. I really liked her strategy, and I went on to. I checked CrackU website. I found a course there. I enrolled for it, and CrackU gave me a scholarship too, because I had some like a bit average sort of percentile for my previous attempt. They gave me a good scholarship too.
Right.
I mean, I got it in a very meager amount, in fact, when compared to other online courses
Right.
available. Okay, and that was, I still remember, that was in July 20, I guess. I remember, yeah. So, and since then, I have never looked back. The journey was indeed very interesting when I started improving. Initially, it was a very gradual improvement, but later on, I could really like scale in my journey.
Great. So you went on from scoring 78 percentile to 97 plus percentile. So that's a very good improvement. So can you tell us a little bit about that? How did you improve from 78 percentile to 97 plus? Like what changes did you do in your preparation?
Okay, so I started with quants and DLove initially because I enjoy reading. So I was with the
Okay.
assumption that I would be doing decently for verbal part, VARC part. I thought I would do it very decently. So I started with DLove and quants. I mean, I started with the video lectures that were given in the course.
Okay.
When most of the lectures have been handled by Saili ma'am only. So those were, I mean, uh, there was really, she's definitely has got a very good flair in teaching.
Right.
Very simple steps, but I mean, that could actually make a huge difference in the way we approach problems. So initially I did not go for any time bound solving. I gave time in solving each question. Some questions even took me like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but I did not bother. I mean, I dedicated time. I wanted to develop the flair of approaching the problems. So that was my first step, the flair of approaching the problems. So once we understand how to approach a problem, then comes this the most important part of solving it in a time bound
Right.
manner. So, okay, so the study room questions, they also played a very important part. After watching the lecture, understanding the way we should approach a problem, I went to the study room. I started taking questions one by one, and yeah, so that
Right.
is how I improved. It was a gradual improvement.
Right.
So then I started giving online mocks. I mean, from some 60%, I slowly started improving in DLF. From not being able to complete one set properly, I started to solving 2 3 sets.
Right.
So I think I'm really indebted to Sally ma'am for this.
Great. So you're a working professional and you gave CAT while you were working. So can you tell us what was the timetable like? What was the timetable you followed during your preparation? How did you manage both?
Okay, so an year before I was into civil service preparation. Okay, and that did not actually go well with my work schedule.
Okay.
So since I have already made a mistake there, I knew that if I am I mean, I was very determined in the beginning itself that I would work only for a specific period of time, like 9 to 6 or maybe 6:15, not more than that. So I ensured that I finish all my work related activities by 6:15,
Okay.
and by 6:37 I was very adamant that I would start studying. So yeah, during the evening time, and I followed a very specific routine,
Right.
like in the morning I would start at a specific time, and it would get extended till my work time, and after work also I dedicate a good amount of time for studying. So the one thing that usually keeps me engaged is books. So I have a passion for reading, so I ensured that I don't read much during this period unless and until I have a hold on uh, the topics, the love and quants. So to be frank, it is never too late or never too,
Right.
either things apply. Never too late and never too early to start preparing. But once we start preparing, we should be very like determined, and we should have that perseverance.
Right.
That is really important. I kept all this distraction related activities apart and focused only on the video lectures, solving questions. So it is, I think the most important part is in developing the right mindset in solving a question.
Right. So can you tell us how did you keep yourself motivated during this journey?
I mean, I got the coverage from somewhere, but usually I'm a kind of person who gets panic.
Okay.
But during this time, I was scoring, initially I scored really bad, but once I started studying seriously, I could make a difference. Like it could actually bring in a difference in my mock scores. So it was a gradual improvement, and
Right.
it is something that improves only through practice.
Practice.
And one advice that I would like to give everyone is don't uh, take mocks without preparing. I mean, just have a look over the formulas. Just, I mean, don't go and make a casual mock attempt. Then you
Right.
will definitely score low, and we will feel a
Right.
little down and demotivated. So it is important to just go through the formulas and then make a mock attempt rather than simply making a mock attempt.
Right.
That was my initial way. I mean, I did not give enough of an attention um, to studying. I just took mocks because that is what we always hear from toppers: take mocks. So I also took mocks, but that did not make a difference. Study and then take mocks. So throughout my study journey, I mean, during school and college, there was one quote that I like.
Okay.
It is always a week and stop not till the goal is reached. I started really late, like July, starting preparing seriously from July 2020 is a bit late. Definitely for a first time uh, person. So
Okay.
I started really late, and then I ensured that I don't like deviate from the study.
Right.
I I mean, we should rather be self motivated too. I mean, we should try rather than parents pushing you or your friends pushing you. That is not always sustainable. It is always important that we remain self motivated. Understand that it is an important, I mean, way to secure our future.
Right.
And as in the case of, I mean, ultimately our goal is to get into a good B school, and CAT score does not guarantee that. There were lots of other factors like CATs, grads, work which we cannot actually make a change. So the only thing on which we can make a change is CAT score. So focus on that. Prepare well. So it's actually possible, because a very average student like me, if I can make it to up at least up to 97.5 plus, it is definitely possible for everyone. I started only by July. So
Right.
for the 2021 aspirants, there was a long time frame. Like they can
Right.
start even now.
Brilliant. So can you tell us how many mocks you gave and how many hours you spent analyzing each mock?
Okay, I did not actually put, I mean, time bound any analysis.
Okay.
When I really spend a good amount of time analyzing the mocks, and once I complete a mock, and when the Crackio releases the uh, percentile and answer key, I used to ensure that I go through every question, work out even the ones that I got right. I used to work it out again in case of quants, DLR, and verbal also. So verbal is the one session that I used to analyze at the last, because I wanted to forget all the passages that I read. Always during the MOOC analysis, I used to ensure that I read the passages with a fresh mind, so that I don't have a prejudice while reading the passage again.
Correct.
That will affect my attempt again. I mean, when I reattempt it, if I have some memories of this passage from what I read during the mock time, like I know that okay, this is going to be the answer, and I make such a decision. So I gave enough time for me to forget reading comprehension to make a fresh attempt.
Okay.
And as in the case of quants, don't just learn the formulas, understand the concepts. So, if, for example, there's this time and work, or maybe could be quadratic equations.
Okay.
So, just understanding the formulas of getting the value of x, or the time taken to complete a task as stated in the question, that is not enough. It is important to understand the underlying concept, because if we learn the formula, we would only be able to do that particular kind of problem. But if we understand the underlying concept, we will be able to answer all sort of questions.
Right.
So don't just mug up the formulas, understand the underlying concept, and that's the right way.
Right.
Like learning the formulas alone is definitely not enough. That won't help.
Right. Great. So can you tell us what was your weakest section and how did you improve in that section? What was your strategy in that?
Okay, so when I started from July, DLR was the weakest section. I did not even know how to solve a single type of problem.
Okay.
So I started with arrangements, Sally Ma'am's videos. So the basic arrangement that I know is a circular arrangement, like an eight
Right.
people being seated. So the basic type. So it is only after watching the video that there were alternate ways of arranging it. So she told me the specific. I mean, yeah. So in her video, she actually specifies the sub cases, like the cases which overlap, or the cases which we can consider as redundant,
Right.
the different cases, all of arrangement. So I really felt interested after watching those videos, and I went ahead with I went ahead practicing more questions, and so I slowly started to improve in DLR. And then when I started making taking mocks, I started doing really good in DLR and cons part. And then my scores started dropping in reading comprehension. So that I started to panic a lot. I mean, it was already September, I guess, by then. So, and then I went to, I mean, oh, okay, I should definitely say this, crack your daily targets.
Right.
Crack your daily targets are really, really great. Initially, I did not actually start do crack your daily target. I just focused on the study room questions and video lectures. Sometime in September, I used to see the daily targets on the website, but I did not care it much then. I regret that. I regret it now. Once I started doing daily targets, I really liked it. I mean, it's a sort of revision. On each day, they would be giving a new topic. So
Right.
even if I have learned geometry a pretty long back, it's a good
Way to revise.
like a way to revise. Yeah. So that was, I mean, doing daily targets have helped me a lot. I mean, it actually saves the time we spend on revising on our own. Rather, crack you indirectly, they are making us revise. Daily targets are really appreciable. And sectional tests also, it's very important to take sectional test. So that is how we understand how much we have improved. As in the case of quants, we need speed, and speed comes only with practice. And the only way to know if we have improved is by taking sectional test.
Right.
When we take it in a time bound manner, we understand how much we have improved. And for quants, I think I could secure some 98.53 or
Okay.
54. So that was also possible only because of these daily targets. And and when I am doing a question, I used to ensure that I could complete it within 2 or 3 minutes of time. Then slowly reduce the time. Try to get the answer within 1 minute. That is how we improve.
Great. So can you tell us about the strategy you followed in each section?
Okay, as in the case of okay, I was go with verbal. I was good at parajumples and paragraph summary. When I had good accuracy for those two sections, but reading comprehension I never used to do it well. So one thing that I mean, I started understanding that when I do MOOC analysis, I understand that reading comprehension is a part where I am like doing a bit badly. So what I did is I started solving reading comprehension. I mean, initially, even though daily targets were time bound, initially I just closed it and then spent more than 15 minutes in solving it. And then I started doing it first. So initially, I did not have any strategy, and later on, I understood that before solving a comprehension, just see. I mean, just take an overview and make sure that it is a doable passage, or it is all about comprehending how much you understand the passage. So just make sure that it is possible for you to comprehend it, and then go ahead.
Right.
So don't just when, because we have 3 or 4 passages for the actual exam, and I mean, doing every passage does not make sense. For verbal, for DLL and quants, we know that okay, we got this answer. This answer was directly given in the option. So
Right.
yeah, the term accuracy comes into play in case of verbal. As far as I say, in my opinion, accuracy comes into play in verbal part. So instead of doing a lot of questions, try to improve the accuracy, and that also comes only with practice. I would say just try to comprehend the passage in the first go itself, rather than rereading the passages that only consumes time and that may not give a good
Right.
result at the end. So before you attempt a passage, ensure that this is doable. I would be able to comprehend it, and that comes with practice. So practice is the only key here. So with practice, you will understand that okay, this is a kind of passage which I can solve. So my good sections were good passages were the factual ones, politics related. I used to do badly for philosophical kind, so I
Okay.
just skipped it whenever I come across such things. And after for the examination, I had developed a strategy by doing the mocks. If after solving 1 or 2 passages, I used to do paragraph summary or parajumble, and then come back to waiting comprehension because it's a bit exhaustive kind. We get a bit tired after doing comprehension, so it's better to take a relax and do parajumble or para summary. So for DILR, we basically have to understand if it is the logical kind or the data interpretation kind that we are good at. Some people might be good in calculations, and using the CAT calculator is not an easy task. So it is. I always prefer doing my own calculations,
Right.
mental or yeah, calculations rather than relying on the calculator. So understand if the one at which we are good at, and so these years, like these, for some 2 or 3 years, we are getting a mix of logical and data interpretation. So I always used to go for logical ones first. Would be able to understand the kind of question that is doable. So I never used to falter during mocks, during like in the case of question selection.
Right.
Because I always used to select the right one. And it comes with practice. We don't have to brainstorm a lot on how we will understand the set that is ideal for us. It would come with practice. I mean, this is like a true testimony
Right.
because I have seen how I have improved. So, and always always practice a different variety of questions. Because when we practice a different variety of questions, we understand different strategies and we would definitely get something right.
Right.
It will definitely help us. So during my first attempt, I could secure only some 40 percentile, which is too less. I mean, in DLR, overall it was 75, 78. And from there, I could come a long way in
Right.
clearing the sections of all important institutions.
Right.
So I'm really happy about it. So my key to my preparation strategy was just working out a lot of problems.
Right.
That's it.
Great. So can you tell us what are some of the biggest mistakes you've done during your preparation and how did you learn from that?
Okay, the biggest mistake is definitely starting a bit late.
Okay.
I started only by July. For all 2021 aspirants, I would say the right time to start is March, Feb or March. It is never too yearly to start preparing, in fact. And for people who start a bit late, I would say it is never too late because they have to gather the courage and do it. But it's never too early, is the fact. Start preparing now itself. Work out a lot of questions. Like this is one area where most people don't give proper attention. We always have to ensure that we would be able to do a question within um, within a small time span, because if you do it in 2 minutes when you are at home, when you are at a very peaceful environment, you would be able to do it in 3 minutes in the exam hall.
Right.
So that plays a huge importance, I know it. Then I would say I was with the prejudice that I would do well in RC, so that made me panic a lot during the last month. I could not actually balance the time then, so that is a mistake that I have committed. I thought I'm good at quants for the time being, and I was in a position to. I mean, I have by then reached to a position where I could solve DLF also comfortably. So I thought, okay, I will be able to manage RC.
Okay.
VARs, but that was not the case. During the last month, I had to I did not give a balanced distribution of time. I had to dedicate a bit more time for VARC, which made me panic a bit during the last month.
Right. So can you tell us how was it on your CAT day? Like, did it go as per your strategy? How were you prepared for that?
Okay, this year, CAT 2020 threw a lot of surprises because we did not even know the
Right.
pattern. So we did not even know how many RCs would be there. So I was in slot 2, and before entering the hall, I just checked the reviews and I read that VARC is a bit tough. DLR, I mean, of slot 1 reviews, DLR is a bit okay kind, and Quants is also doable. Is a review that I got after slot 1. So I felt a bit at ease and I geared up for VARC. I thought this is the same thing that is going to happen in my slot also. So I went ahead, and the okay, I had a strategy. My strategy was to solve a RC within the first RC. I wanted to do it within 10 minutes, because when we see a few done ones, we would get a bit of courage. I mean, we would feel at ease, and then we will, we will be able to do it
Right.
later on. The first 10 minutes, how we start the exam, is really, really important. Because if we have a bit bad start, that would, I am a sort of person who gets affected by it. So I wanted to do really well in the first 10 minutes, and unfortunately, I could not do the first 10 minutes good. I mean, really well. So I panicked a lot for RC, and that was an easy passage too. So somehow I managed to do it within 12 minutes. Uh, I somehow did it in 12 minutes, and then I went to para jumpers and para samavi part, for which I am really good at. So actually, anything can happen on the D day. It is always the a peace of mind that we have to maintain during the exam day.
Right.
So then I went on to complete all the para samavi and para jumble, because I know that I am good at it. So I felt a bit ease after doing that, and then I came back to RCs. But yeah, I did it well. I did the PARC part well. I felt a bit relaxed and ease after doing it, and I managed to secure some 95 percentile. I mean, close to 95 after that. After VARC, I felt a bit
Right.
at ease. So, and then the game changer happened. Then there was this DLR section. So, as I said, with practice, we would be able to uh, know that, okay, this is a set that I would definitely be able to do. So, and that is how, and I just had an overview of questions, and I saw this set of professor semester. Those people who went in slow too will know this. Professor semester, something like that.
Okay.
There was a set of arrangement, basically a bit of logical arrangement kind. So I did it, and then I did that question, and then went and attempted two sets. I did not completely do the. I mean, I did two complete sets, and the third set I did a bit.
Right.
Okay, so I after completing the DLS set, I felt that was a disaster. I would not be able to even cross the sectionals, sectional wise cutoffs. I felt really, really bad after doing DLR. So I thought this year was gone. It's a disaster. That was a thought that came to my mind, and I started quants with a very, very bad mindset. Um, which is actually not the ideal thing to do. We
Right.
should always maintain a peace of mind. So, and then I started doing quants. Quants was my strongest section, and I started doing the questions, and uh, I mean, it was going very smoothly. And for the last 5 minutes, this is a very important thing, because for the last 5 minutes, what happened is, I am good at time and work related questions.
Okay.
So I always used to get it right. So on that day, I went into an ego fight with the time and work question. This is really a bad thing. I mean, I somehow wanted to get it right. That work question. I spent 3 or 4 minutes doing that particular question, and because of that, there were two easy questions. One was the geometry question, which was very, very easy. Even a person who goes there without preparing could do it. I mean, I attempted it, and I wrongly marked it. They asked for the R1 value. I went on to give the R2 value. So
Okay.
I made a mistake there. And there was another question too, of regarding the maximum value. So there also they asked for the value of X. I gave the maximum value. So it is that this is a thing that I really regret now, because if I had put in a bit more of attention there, I would have easily scored some 7 marks, like negative, counting the negative two I earned through it. So like 7 marks can easily place it into a very different position in CAT exam. 7 marks matter a lot. So I regret in that aspect. This is an advice that I would like to give to all the aspirants. Even if I happen, even if I come up in a position that I will have to take the CAT next year, this is the thing. This is my experience. Like, never panic during the examination, because if I find it, I found DLR tough, and if I find the DLR tough, it is definitely tough for 99.9% of the students who take the examination. So it is not just I alone who felt the exam tough. We have to understand that it's tough for everyone. It is all about balancing the pressure on us during the exam. Yeah, that is it.
Right. Great. So, are there any tips that you would like to give the future CAT aspirants?
See, there were people who start from 60 percentile. There were people who tell about success stories from 95 to 99.
Right.
That does not that is not always the true story. There are people who, like me, who could make a huge difference from 78 to somewhere 97.5 plus. So it is actually possible with, and I dedicated only 4 months of time. So it is actually possible for each and every one of you to, each one of the aspirant to make it possible.
Right.
It is possible. I mean, just that we have, if you really want to do MPA, first hurdle before us is to clear the CAT exam with really good percentile, because even in 98 or 99 is definitely required for the Trinity, that Holy Trinity, ABC. So dedicate a good amount of time in practicing, study well, and most important is how you perform on the D-Day. Mock scores don't matter. No one is going to look into it. So maintain a peace of mind. I mean, even when you take the mocks, uh, I so while I was solving the mocks, uh, I looked at the question, solved it, and that was the strategy that I followed. I did not, this aspect of maintaining peace during the exam time did not actually occur to me back
Right.
then. I mean, this is not an advice that I happen to hear from anyone. So this is what I would like to tell everyone, that maintain a peace of mind. That is really important. If I had been a bit more patient during the exam, I could have definitely scored a bit more well, and that would have put me in a better position. So it is important to maintain a peace of mind on the D-Day.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Feba. It was great talking to you today, and thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Thanks for like having me here.